Imagine standing beneath a storm where the sky turns completely green, while lightning tears through the clouds so violently that the entire landscape flashes like daylight. Now imagine a desert where rain falls so rarely that entire rivers can disappear for years. Yet when the storm finally arrives, the ground can transform into a raging flood within minutes. And then there are places where ice falls from the sky in stones large enough to destroy cars. None of this is science fiction. These are real weather events happening on Earth. But some of them look so extreme that they seem to violate the basic rules of nature. The strangest part is that the more scientists investigate them, the more they reveal about how powerful and unpredictable our atmosphere really is. One of the most mysterious examples begins with a color: green. When powerful thunderstorms develop, especially near sunset, the sky can sometimes turn an eerie greenish color. For generations, people have associated this strange sky with violent tornadoes. But the green color itself isn't caused by tornadoes. It comes from something much more ordinary and much more fascinating: light. During a severe storm, enormous clouds can become filled with water droplets and ice particles. As light passes through this massive storm system, the atmosphere can scatter and filter the light in unusual ways. When the storm contains the right combination of sunlight, water, and ice, the sky can take on a deep green appearance. But here's where things become unsettling. The same storms producing that strange color can contain some of the most violent atmospheric machinery on the planet. Inside a powerful thunderstorm, air can rise at incredible speeds. Warm, moist air shoots upward. Cold air crashes downward. Water droplets collide with ice crystals. Electric charges separate, and eventually the cloud becomes a gigantic natural electrical generator. Every lightning bolt is the visible release of that accumulated energy. A single thunderstorm can contain millions of volts of electrical potential. And sometimes the atmosphere does something even stranger. Instead of lightning simply traveling downward from a cloud, electrical discharges can reach upward from the top of thunderstorms into the upper atmosphere. These enormous flashes are called sprites. They can appear dozens of kilometers above the storm. For less than a second, the upper atmosphere suddenly lights up with enormous red or orange structures far above the clouds where ordinary lightning occurs. For centuries, humans didn't even know they existed. They were so brief and so high above the ground that they were almost impossible to observe. Then cameras finally captured them, and scientists discovered that Earth's atmosphere contains an entire layer of electrical activity hidden above the storms we can see. But lightning isn't the only weather phenomenon that seems impossible. In some storms, water can be trapped inside enormous rotating updrafts. A tiny ice particle rises. It freezes. It falls. Then another powerful updraft catches it again and throws it upward again. Layer after layer of ice accumulates. The result can be hailstones several centimeters across. And in the most extreme storms, hail can become enormous. These aren't simply chunks of frozen rain. They're records of a battle taking place inside the cloud, a battle between gravity and rising air. And sometimes gravity loses, at least temporarily. But the most extraordinary weather on Earth may not happen in the clouds at all. Sometimes the real mystery begins when the rain finally reaches the ground. Because in some of the driest places on the planet, a single storm can unleash more water than the landscape can absorb. And when that happens, the desert doesn't simply get wet, it can come alive. Dry channels suddenly become rivers, dust becomes mud, and landscapes that appeared lifeless for years can be transformed in a matter of hours. The atmosphere isn't breaking the laws of physics, it's demonstrating them at a scale we rarely witness. And the deeper scientists look, the stranger the story becomes. Because there is one type of storm where the atmosphere can create winds so powerful that objects from the ground can be lifted into the sky and carried far beyond where they began. And that's where Earth's weather starts looking less like weather and more like a force of nature with no limit.
One of the clearest examples is the tornado. A tornado is essentially a violently rotating column of air extending from a thunderstorm toward the ground. But the image we usually see, the narrow funnel twisting across a field, is only part of the story. The real danger is the invisible wind surrounding it. The strongest tornadoes can produce winds powerful enough to destroy buildings, throw vehicles, and turn ordinary objects into airborne projectiles. And sometimes, tornadoes behave in ways that still challenge scientists. They can change direction. They can suddenly intensify. They can disappear and then form again. But perhaps the strangest weather phenomenon on Earth is something much larger, a hurricane. Unlike a tornado, a hurricane can stretch hundreds of kilometers across, and at its center is one of the strangest places in the atmosphere, the eye. Inside the eye, winds can suddenly become relatively calm. The sky may even clear. Yet surrounding that peaceful center is the eye wall, a massive ring of thunderstorms containing the hurricane's strongest winds and heaviest rainfall. It looks almost impossible. How can the center of one of Earth's most violent storms be strangely calm? The answer lies in the storm's rotation. As air spirals inward toward the center, it accelerates. Eventually, the rotating air reaches a balance where the strongest upward motion and convection concentrate around the eye rather than directly inside it. The result is one of nature's most dramatic contrasts, a pocket of relative calm surrounded by atmospheric chaos. And hurricanes reveal another surprising fact. They are powered by heat. Warm ocean water provides energy. Water evaporates from the surface. That moist air rises. As it cools, water vapor condenses into clouds and releases heat. That extra heat fuels more rising air. More rising air strengthens the circulation, and the cycle continues. In other words, a hurricane is not simply moving through the atmosphere, it is feeding from the ocean beneath it. But Earth's strangest weather doesn't always require enormous storms. Sometimes the atmosphere creates something almost invisible. In extremely cold conditions, ice crystals can form high in the atmosphere and fall slowly toward the ground. Under the right conditions, these crystals can create enormous halos around the sun or moon. Sometimes you may even see bright patches of light beside the sun. These are called sundogs. They can look like multiple suns hanging in the sky, but they aren't reflections from another world. They're optical effects created when sunlight passes through millions of tiny ice crystals arranged inside high-altitude clouds. The geometry has to be just right, and when it is, the atmosphere becomes a gigantic natural optical system. Then there is lightning. We already know lightning can strike downward, but scientists have discovered that electrical activity can travel in unexpected directions through the atmosphere. Sprites, jets, and other transient luminous events can erupt above thunderstorms. Some reach the edge of space. For a long time, nobody knew they existed. The atmosphere was hiding an entire electrical world above the clouds. And that may be the most important lesson of Earth's strangest weather. The laws of physics aren't being broken, our intuition is. We experience weather from the ground. We feel wind. We see clouds. We watch rainfall. But the atmosphere is a three-dimensional machine extending from the surface to the edge of space. Temperature changes, pressure changes, water changes state, air rises and sinks, electricity builds, and enormous amounts of energy move through the system every second. What looks impossible from the ground can become completely understandable when scientists examine the hidden mechanisms behind it. The green sky, the giant hail, the desert floods, the tornado, the hurricane's impossible-looking eye, the mysterious lights above thunderstorms. None of them violate physics, they reveal it. And perhaps that's what makes Earth's weather more fascinating than any fictional alien planet, because we don't have to travel millions of miles to find something that looks impossible. We only have to look up. Above us is an atmosphere capable of producing landscapes of ice, rivers from empty skies, electrical explosions, rotating monsters, and storms larger than countries. And every one of them follows the same physical laws that govern the entire universe. The strange part isn't that Earth can produce weather this extreme. The strange part is that we live beneath it every single day.